Hey there guys, it's me, Pod, or Pod Agreed, back again with another video. And if you guys been watching my content for a while, you guys know that I'm a little bit obsessed with Deadlock. I might have a little bit of exception. That's a lie if you can tell. I completely am obsessed with this game right now. And over the past couple weeks, I've been uploading a little bit of gameplay and clips of me playing some of the characters. And so if you recognize this guy from my last video, then you know who we're talking about today. Now, this character that I'm playing is called Abrams. Abrams is one of the many characters you can play inside of Deadlock. And the reason why I picked Abrams is because, in my opinion, in comparison to the rest of the cast, Abrams is a very easy character to go ahead and pick up and kind of just do good with. And I feel like also his kit is just something you can really easily wrap your head around. And his along with his playstyle too, his playstyle is very straightforward in comparison to a lot of the other characters. Anyways, we'll go ahead and dive into some of what Abrams can do right now. Hey guys, Future Pod here. Just a disclaimer before we get into this guide. I am not a top 500 player. I'm not an Eternus player. I'm none of that. I'm just a guy who plays the game enough to understand how certain characters work and the mechanics behind them. But with that out of the way, let's get back to the video. Now, what I want to first talk about Abrams is what his role is. His role is basically being a tank, being a front liner, taking damage, healing it back, creating agencies inside of team fights, being the shield that the team needs. That's kind of what Abrams is, while also being very strong from early to mid game. Now, before we get into any of that, let me first talk about his gun. His gun is called Case Closed, and unlike many of the other shotguns inside of Deadlock, it has a spread. So you check that out. Now, the thing about his spread is, the closer you are, obviously, the cleaner the spread will be. See, in comparison, if I was shooting all the way out here, check that out. Yep. So his gun really excels at mid to close range, and it really falls off at 40, like the 40-meter mark. Say like right here. In comparison, if I was standing this close to them, see, just look at the damage. And also, Abrams' gun is very different from some of the other casts, where his gun actually reloads. Let me go ahead and actually empty the clip so I can show you. So his gun empties one clip at a time. So say if there was some orbs that you need to deny, and say if you're a 1, you could go ahead, reload 1, go ahead and shoot. Reload 1, go ahead and shoot. Obviously, it's always better to have a full thing of ammo, but if you ever need to deny, this would be a good way to use it. The second thing we're going to talk about is Abrams' melees. So like every other character, Abrams has a light and a heavy melee. Now, if you've seen some of my videos, you've probably seen this move a lot. Mostly because I'm an addict to try and hit just heavies in general. I kid you not, the feeling of landing one of these heavies and having it kill your enemy is one of the greatest feelings you'll get on Abrams. But in comparison to Billy's melees, his light melees get a slight slow in between them. So keep that in mind. So say if you're training with someone and want to, mix things up, he does get a movement slow. I don't know if you can tell by me moving back and forth and throwing on a melee. He gets slightly slower. I don't know if you can tell. Along with that, Abrams, his heavy is really good. It reaches a long distance, and it only gets better throughout the game. Actually, I believe one of his abilities actually increases the range of the melee the more you upgrade it. So like you can reach people from all the way back here, which to me is insane. Yeah. Anyways, we'll go ahead and now get into some of Abrams' abilities. Now we're going to dive into the part that makes Abrams Abrams and which is his abilities. We'll start off with his one. His one is called Siphon Life. And basically what it does, it drains health from nearby enemies, dealing spear damage over time and healing for a portion of the damage dealt. And I'll go ahead and show off what it looks like. So basically, anyone caught in this blue radius will have their life siphoned. And throughout the duration, if Abrams takes any damage, anyone siphon life within that little blue area will just be used to heal his health back. Now, it used to be the case that anyone in front of him would just get their life siphoned. Like, anyone in front of his view would get siphoned. But that's sadly not the case anymore. Now, he doesn't even have to be looking at the person in order to have their life be siphoned. They just have to be inside this blue radius now, which I think is a pretty huge buff to him. It just buffs his survivability. This is what keeps you in team fights. And, you know, it just helps him out in the long term. Now, the upgrades to this is the first upgrade basically takes 20 seconds of cooldown off, which is a huge plus considering the cooldown that before it's not upgraded is like close to 42 seconds. The second one is making the duration last longer by 2 seconds. The last upgrade is a 3 meter radius and 18 damage boost, and it now scales with spear damage, which I think is pretty cool, and I think is a really nice way to have this ability end. And especially if you're trying to scale into Spirit Abrams, this will be your best friend. Now, Abrams' second ability that I want to go into is called Shoulder Charge. Basically, you charge forward, pulling enemies hit, pushing a hero into a wall will stun. So basically, you do a charge, and if you hit any form of architecture, like say a wall, let's say a ledge, anything like that, will basically stun them. I'll go ahead and show off what the move looks like right now. So, as you saw there, I rushed him into a wall and he took a stun. Now, this ability will be helping you out a lot in lane. This can be used to displace enemies, this could be used to really target enemies if you really wanted to. This could be used to cancel ults, all that type of jazz. But what makes this ability really good is once it gets to its second upgrade, which once you upgrade it first, it'll apply a slow for 3 seconds, but his second upgrade will make the duration of the stun longer. And the reasoning why that is so good, especially for Abrams, is because after you charge, you can basically make the a heavy true. So I'll go ahead and show off what I mean. And you can basically do that throughout the duration. So it's just long enough to where you can go ahead and charge and go ahead and buffer a heavy. And if you wanted to go ahead and expand onto that, you could also go ahead and buffer a shot too right after the heavy, so it'll look something like this. There we go. Just add a little bit more damage on. And if you want, you can also combine it with your one, so that way you can go ahead and get a little bit more damage off. So you can go one, charge, heavy, shot, and you'll do a lot of damage that way. On the last upgrade, the cooldown will be reduced, and colliding with an enemy hero will now do 1.5 weapon damage for 6 seconds, which I say is really good, especially for that cooldown, because the cooldown on this charge is really long, and if you're the only one expected to be aggressive in lane, or you want to play more aggressive in lane, this would be the way to go. A lot of builds go ahead and stop at 2, but if you want to be really greedy with it, or if you want to be super oppressive, I would definitely recommend and just fully max this out at the beginning. Now, I'll dive into a little bit of Abrams' third ability, also known as his passive, which is called Infernal Resilience. Gain bonus defensive attributes. Taking damage grants temporary regeneration for a portion of the damage taken. This is what really helps you in, say, really poke heavy lanes. This will be your best friend. This will basically give you, on the first upgrade, 1.5 health regen. On the second upgrade, it will give you 200 max HP. On the third upgrade, it will give you 20% debuff resist and 8% damage regeneration. So say if you were to take damage in lane, this will basically help you get some of the portion of the health you lost back. Now we'll go into Abrams' last move, which is his ult. His ult is called Seismic Impact. Leap high into the air before crashing into the ground, dealing spirit damage and applying a stun. And here's what it looks like. Now, as you saw, I basically just leaped into the air, and I just went ahead and slammed on to this dummy. And after I went ahead and slammed onto it, it applied a stun. Now, I've been experimenting with this a little bit, and if you hit more towards the center, it'll go ahead and pull the person towards Abrams, so you can go ahead and pull off a shoulder bash. After you use the ult, I wouldn't recommend going for a heavy. There isn't just enough time to go ahead and land one, sadly. With the get up animation of you using your seismic impact, it doesn't leave enough room. So I recommend afterwards going ahead and just using your move, shooting at them, use a 1 maybe into a 2, then you go ahead and land your heavy, stuff like that. On the first upgrade, it'll go ahead and reduce the cooldown by 35 seconds. On the second upgrade, it'll increase the stun duration by 0.7 seconds. And on the last upgrade, on cast, you'll become invincible after the impact, and the impact radius is increased by 6 meters. And you'll go ahead and get a little sign of you becoming invincible when you use the ult. And you'll become invincible after using the ult. It'll stay on you for a little bit, and it's a really neat to have, especially if you're trying to shut down other enemy ults, like say a 7 ult, stuff like that. This also is a really good getaway tool if you ever need to. You can use this to get away, and don't be really scared to use this ult at all. This ult is, even though it's 2 minutes, like you can just use it however you want, either to get away, if you need to stun an enemy, if there's a really annoying ult that you want to counter, this is the best way to use this ult. Now that we got all that out of the way, I hope you got a better understanding of who Abrams is and what his ability and his kit does. Hopefully you found this video enjoyable also. If you can, I would appreciate you leaving a like, and if you like my content, consider subscribing. And if you want to stay more in tune on like what I do if I end up posting another guide to another character, be sure to hit that bell. And you know what? Just tell me how you guys' day has been. I really want to know what your guys' day has been. Truly, I always try to make it a habit to respond to every comment I see. Anyways, guys, I'll see you guys later. Peace.